Hello, welcome to this video where I react to last week's Tonight video on Alex Jones. Alex Jones recently had a bit of a situation there, and now we're going to react to the video that was published in 2017 about him. So,
we're going to talk about the media, specifically one increasingly influential member of it, Alex Jones, the Walter Cronkite of shrieking batshit gorilla clowns. And I know you may be thinking, there is nothing more I need to know about Alex Jones, because you've probably seen crazy clips like this.
What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
oh,
And I'm not saying people didn't naturally have homosexual feelings. I'm not even.
isn't that nice? He's an ally, you know. He isn't that homophobic, but he also kind of is, you know, weirdly.
Getting into it.
No.
You think I'm like, shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people? I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that?
Okay, this is actually
Wow.
This is an interesting thing. So this is actually Alex Jones being, I don't know, maybe either stupid or being transphobic, because actually the chemicals that the frogs were being exposed to was turning their gender. So you see, what would happen is, let's say it's a male frog, and they would shift to be a female frog, and then they would start to have sexual intercourse with male frogs. The problem is, you see, Alex, is that now they're female. And see, now it's not gay, it's, heterosexual, because it's yes, before the frog did have the body parts of a male frog, but now it doesn't. Now it's breeding with a male frog, but it is female. So I'm not sure if Alex Jones here is just being like transphobic and just, there's some people who are like, oh no, you're not straight, you're very interesting actually when you have a transphobe who's also homophobic. Who knows? But just seem either he's being transphobic or he's being just kind of stupid. Or maybe just people just that's what he chose to do. I don't know. It's just a little thing there, interesting. You see some people saying he was right, he wasn't, because it doesn't turn them gay, it turns them transgender. So it changes their biological structure. So yeah, it's not accurate. At least it's close, but it's not accurate at all, really, because yeah, it changes their gender, not their sexual behavior. So yeah, just that doesn't actually turn them gay. I'm just saying, it's kind of anyway.
Wow. If he is that upset about a government conspiracy that is not happening,
Yeah.
just imagine how upset he's going to be when he finds out about one that actually is. Like the fact that the government is turning raccoons bilingual. Oh, that's right. They're all fluent in French now, and they will be working that into conversation. And that famous clip is by no means an outlier. Jones is a charismatic performer who gets charged up on a regular basis, so there are plenty of lesser-known outbursts like this.
My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it, and my whole spirit just goes, They call that crazy. That's not crazy. That's my will, my human spirit saying, crush those that would hurt the innocent.
Okay.
Go after the enemy. Build a civilization. Be honorable.
I mean, I think this might be the problem with religion. Ultimately, it's that you had some good points there, and then some.
Crush the snakes under your feet.
At least
worst
now
points.
we know what Friday Night Lights would have looked like if they'd given Coach Taylor a nasty PCP habit. Go after the enemy! Crush the snakes under your feet! Clear eyes, full heart! Oh God, there's snakes everywhere! Stop those snakes, motherfuckers! Now, look, ideally, the first thing you should know about the Alex Jones Show is nothing. But unfortunately, it is an important part of a lot of people's media diets. An estimated 6 million people listen to his radio show or watch it online every week. And we know at least one Jones fan seems to be current Russian ambassador to the United States, Donald Trump.
Not anymore.
He supposedly called Jones after the election,
Maybe.
has tweeted content from InfoWars and one of its editors, and just a year...
Ah. Oh my god. Okay.
A year and a half ago even appeared on his show.
I just want to finish by saying your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope.
Oh.
And I think we'll be speaking a lot.
The only thing that could have made that moment any grosser is if Nigel Farage, Bill Cosby and Phil Spector were all on the same call.
Yeah.
So look, it is no wonder that Jones has been getting a lot of coverage recently. We even mentioned him on our first show of the season back in February, and in his response to it, he seemed a little annoyed with me.
Your ratings are in the toilet. You're a joke. They brought you back revamped out of the gates to attack yours truly. After you lectured us that Donald Trump could never win over and over again.
Did he? I'm pretty sure he said that he could win. Maybe you're thinking of someone else, or maybe I just got the wrong strict. Also,
because you're the intellectual. Everybody knows British accent's intellectual.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. First of all, Alex, that's what we call inferiority complex. That's where the people who are above you sort of just think they're better. That's not a good thing to have, really. In this case, sometimes it's not necessarily that bad, but in this case, it's very serious because it's kind of implying you're going to pick an entire country and call them all more intellectual. From my experience, the British accent does not mean you're intellectually. In fact, it means a little less. So yeah, that inferiority complex. I don't know what that's about, but
There's no facts behind it.
yeah. Sorry, that's just the Americans how I think. Where it's like, oh, they think they're something about the British accent. It's just like, no, God Almighty.
And now you make fun of me out of context, and I'll go, look at this loon. Hey, boy, people want legitimacy. They want real.
Don't call someone boy.
They want to hear somebody that can speak to them and touch them inside.
Oh God, there's no one he said like that. But yeah, no one he said like that. But yeah, the thing is, and this is the kind of thing you see when you have like channels that have like 10 million subscribers, and they're like, oh yeah, and I'm just talking the fact, and like, okay, and then they're like, oh, I'm being censored. You're not. Okay, look at your subscribers, and see, ultimately, if you were speaking the truth that people didn't want to hear, why would they promote you? Because you do realize all they need to do is just not show you, and then you won't be seen.
Okay. Look, a few things there. One, don't call me boy.
Yeah.
And two, my British accent does not sound intellectual. Believe
No, not really any British accent, because like the posh ones, for example, you just want to have a revolution, to be honest. When you hear them, just the arrogance from it, the vibes you get off them. Oh God Almighty, yeah, I'm remembering now. God, the not so posh British people, yeah, they're not bad, but Jesus Christ, no, intellectual, no.
Believe me, I sound like a chimney sweep passing through a wood chipper. But I will give him this. Jones is right that too often people don't present him in his full context. So tonight, we are going to do that. And let's first set aside the key context that Alex Jones has repeatedly used his show to fuel speculation that the Sandy Hook massacre was staged by the government, which has been deeply hurtful for the parents of those children over the years. That is disgusting,
Yes.
and it should be disqualifying in terms of ever taking him seriously. Sadly, doing things that disqualify you from being taken seriously doesn't really seem to be much of a thing anymore. But there is a piece of context you may be less aware of, and that concerns the nature of Jones's show itself. It is 4 hours long. And if you tune into the whole thing...
4 hours. I mean, that's
Your most shocking discovery might be how frequently and shamelessly he pitches products that he sells. In fact, remember that clip from him earlier, yelling about snakes? Let's just go back to that and play it out a bit.
Be honorable. Crush the snakes under your feet.
Oh.
Get behind me, Satan. Now, before I go any further, we got to fund this operation. We got the very best nutraceuticals out there. I don't know if I can run this for another week or so. We want to run it through the end of the month, but that's like 11 days. Because I don't want it to sell out before more gets in. X2, the good halogen, 20% off, InfoWarsLife.com.
Yeah, interestingly, I believe he made over 800,000 in one day. So, I mean, either he's lying or he has just massive expenses. Just like massive expenses. Because I don't know how you need extra help when you're making 800,000 a day.
InfoWarsLife.com.
Whoa, that is a hard turn to have to make.
Yeah.
The Satan-worshipping deep state globalists are going to murder you and your entire family. Open your eyes, sheeple. They are coming for you. They're coming for all of us. But first, McGillicuddy's oatmeal. The perfect way to start your day.
Yeah, that's so true.
And look, that clip is not an anomaly. In 1 week of recent broadcasts on his site, we found he spent nearly a quarter of the time either talking about or
A quarter. Okay.
playing ads for his products or pointing you to the InfoWars store. And if you have never gone shopping on InfoWars, you are in for whatever the exact opposite of a treat is. Because there's the kind of survival gear that you would expect alongside more surprising items like organic shampoo, body wash and deodorant, as well as products like Combat One tactical bath wipes, a $10 pack of moist towelettes that can be used anywhere needed, including the perineal area, which, if you're wondering, is this region right here. That's right. Alex Jones is trying to sell you sloppy wet rags for your taint. And when you are done wiping down the area between your genitals and anus with a glorified wet nap, why not pick up a Bill Clinton rape whistle, which, according to InfoWars, should be used to let Bill know you're in the crowd and that you know the truth. That truth, by the way, you just spent $6 on a whistle. Oh, that's right. We bought this.
Six. Oh, okay. That there's a massive. That's like 300%.
By the way, our order came with a free 9/11 was an inside job bumper sticker that we most assuredly did not ask for. And look, radio hosts doing ads is not inherently unusual. But since 2013, Jones has increasingly focused on promoting his own products, which he sells on his site under his InfoWars Life brand, particularly vitamins and nutraceuticals, which I
believe InfoWars had a bit of a dodgy situation, wasn't it, where they got appeared to be a massive debt to a company that his family owned, which is their excuse now to avoid paying. Interesting.
I believe are the result of the word nutrition fucking the word pharmaceutical from behind. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But this is a big part of Jones's business.
Don't need that.
2/3 of his funding reportedly comes from selling his products, and there are a lot of them. And the reason I know that is we bought a whole bunch. Now, let me break it down for you. There is a Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Wake Up America Patriot Blend Coffee, Lung Cleanse, Brain Force Plus, something called DNA Force that costs $120 a bottle, and Child Ease, a herbal blend, which, according to InfoWars, is designed to soothe the mind and bodies of...
That's creepy. Don't...
children, which is a profoundly creepy phrase.
Yes.
And then there is Caveman True Paleo Formula with bone broth, a chocolate-flavoured drink mix made from bee pollen, stevia, and the dust of chicken skeletons. Now, according to InfoWars, it is one of the most popular new health trend in the world today. And by the look on Jones's face, it tastes exactly as good as it sounds.
You pour that in on a couple of ice
Badly.
cubes, and folks, it tastes, when it's creamy and thick, I think better than Ovaltine.
Oh.
And it is got all the bone broth and so much more. This is why the ancients, they believe, had such better bones and were so much healthier. You can look it up. You could freeze this, and this would be better than like Bluebell chocolate ice cream.
Oh God. He does not seem to enjoy that. Oh, God. Ah, well.
Okay. I know for a fact that Alex Jones did not enjoy drinking that glass of Caveman, because I have got a glass of Caveman right here, and I can confirm to you that it tastes... It tastes exactly how you imagine a drink would taste that's made from chocolate and domesticated bird corpses. It comes at you in waves. And that is not the...
Yeah, you can't just add chocolate to something and then just make it nice. You need to add a lot of other things too. For example, hot chocolate powder needs to have a good deal of sugar in it. Otherwise, it doesn't taste nice. There are certain chocolate powders that are made of a different material. And guess what? They taste awful. Very awful. So yeah, just don't just add chocolate to something.
The only time that Jones
Well, of course, it does work with marketing though.
has used himself as a guinea pig to sell his own products. And a warning now to our younger viewers. The following footage of a man graphically too comfortable with his own body may be disturbing.
Just 10 minutes before we taped this, decided to do this because I haven't done this in a while. We took photos a year ago and then about 6 months ago, and the weight loss
Just before this, so
is dramatic already from what happened before.
Okay, so you're redder and you're wearing a belt. The only thing I can discern happened between those two photos is that you walked shirtless in the sun for 2 hours to a belt store. You could flip those two photos around and the effect would be exactly the same. Also...
Okay.
And look,
Bills in the air.
to be fair to Jones, he does have a medical expert who consults on many of his supplements, Dr. Edward Group III.
Okay, there's no need to have that kind of title also. Yeah. Plastic.
Who looks like the lead in a direct-to-DVD Kato Kaelin biopic, but he's actually even less impressive than that. Here he is in an InfoWars ad explaining the importance of one of the products.
If you're suffering from abdominal pain, allergies, even like headaches, anemia, weakened immune system, gut problems, depression, hair loss, excess gas, muscle pain, nervousness, I mean, all these things. If you look at some of these conditions and then us opening up our borders and all the other countries opening up their borders, you're just dealing with a mass amount of parasites or harmful organisms. You can type in refugees spreading disease. I mean, the CDC is going crazy right now.
Okay, that's yeah, I think it might be worse than Alex Jones, to be honest. I mean, because he believes that he's thick. At least Alex Jones is just selling products. They're responsible to sell products at the cost of other people's lives. But it's a bit like if you were in Nazi Germany and you're selling extermination gear, home extermination gear. You can kill them too. Yeah, that kind of thing. Not very nice. People are gonna do a lot of bad things. But this fella, yeah, I mean, God, yeah, that's yeah. I know this might come as a shock, but it tends to be the case that I know this big thing, but basically, funny story. It'll probably be you that are spreading all the diseases because your society is just filled with terrible things. All that spray, antibacterial spray. That doesn't exactly protect you that much once you lose it. All those things, basically, not good things. I think you're the one that's spreading the stuff. Anyway.
now.
Actually, I am pretty sure that if you type refugee spreading disease into Google and press enter, it just takes you right to the Wikipedia page for xenophobia.
Yeah.
Which, at the end of the day, is a real time saver for you. But despite the fact that Dr. Group looks like what would happen if Tom Petty was machine washed instead of dry cleaned, Alex Jones swears by him. In fact, he's been pretty defensive about Dr. Group's credentials.
It doesn't matter you've got degrees from MIT and everywhere else.
MIT. Institute of Technology. I mean, I thought he was probably a doctor.
And a bunch of other degrees. The media makes fun of you and says that you're an idiot.
That's right.
I mean, literally, they say we cannot sell coffee. It's a fraud.
That's right. That's right. I've been a research scientist for a long time. I am MIT alumni, and I can tell you that I do research all
Alumni.
the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, only the last day, you know, I was seeing, you know, what would it be like if you on the body if you had no food for a few hours. Yeah, I do research all the time as well. I mean, I'm really a fully qualified researcher, except I'm not really because I don't have a degree in it, and yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay, stop. Look, let's break down that bunch of degrees Jones mentioned. Group does have a Doctor of Chiropractic degree from Texas Chiropractic College, but while he lists all these other schools on LinkedIn, we checked and he didn't graduate from any of them. In fact, we asked him and he admits he does not have an undergraduate degree. And as for whether he's an MIT alumni, he only completed a non-degree certificate program there. In fact, just to be sure, we contacted MIT, and according to them, it is not accurate to say he has a degree from MIT, and calling him an alumni would be inaccurate and misleading. Which does make sense when you think about it, because this man...
In fairness, I do think you should know to put a stress on, you know, qualifications from prestigious universities, because ultimately they're not always, you know, for a few courses you can learn it from outside and you won't need a degree. But if you're claiming you have a degree from there, yeah, that point.
Man does not look like an MIT alumnus. He looks like a fifth-year senior at the University of Falling Off a Surfboard. So just to clarify, Alex, that is what we are making fun of when we make fun of Dr. Group. Yeah. Well, that and the fact that he looks like what would happen if Iggy Pop got the Rachel.
Oh.
And look, Jones can inflate Dr. Group's credentials all he wants. He says a lot of crazy shit on his show. But it is noticeable that when it comes to selling his supplements, he can sometimes show a caution that is pretty out of character. Just watch him bend over backwards to repeatedly qualify what he says seconds after he said it.
Maybe you've had back pain before. Maybe you've had nerves that were cut off. This creates tingling. A lot of people have their feeling come back. I'm not going to make claims. Is research true? Organically based bio-PQQ, and it's not technically organic.
Oh. Right.
The other stuff's synthetic, completely lab-made. This is made from organic sources, but the bacteria is GMO. I'll just tell you up front.
So not organic.
But it's not like the super high-tech stuff. It's a bacteria that's just been bred to be able to then secrete and produce this. Just like beer is bacteria. There's a lot of good bacteria, obviously, but this one, that's how the Japanese do it. But it's bioidentical. The stuff is only found in comics and in trace amounts in blueberries.
So eat blueberries then.
Wait. Okay, so let's break that down. It repairs nerves, but maybe doesn't. It's organic, but not really. It contains GMOs, which is bad, except for when he's selling you something, and you can only find its ingredients in comics. Oh, and blueberries.
Yeah.
And it's the drop-off after that last one that is really incredible. You can only find this stuff in dinosaur bones, and in trace amounts in Ritz bits.
Okay,
and look,
what's that?
Jones's products don't come cheap. For instance, he sells this 1 fluid ounce bottle of vitamin D3 for $29.95. but ConsumerLab.com, a supplement watchdog, points out that you can buy the same amount of D3 from other sources for less than $4.
Oh,
but Jones will often give you a hard sell.
big
Sometimes
market.
he'll tell you his products are different than the ones that you can find in stores, and sometimes he'll go even bigger.
It is absolutely in the crystalline form, the strongest. You absorb it. So, folks, don't go out to the store and get iodine from, say, one of the big chains. It'll kill you.
What?
Wow! I honestly did not know that you could imply your competition kills people. 4 out of 5 dentists prefer Trident gum, and the 5th dentist is dead because he put a piece of Wrigley's in his mouth, and that's basically suicide.
Yeah.
And to hear Jones tell it, his products are marked up just enough to keep his business going, as he explained in his recent appearance on Rationalizing Low Ratings with Megyn Kelly.
I mean, it costs $50 million a year to run this.
How much money is being made?
Well, the money that's made is pretty much put back into things.
Okay, so that is...
How much? Sorry, how much did it cost?
Megyn Kelly.
I mean, it costs $50 million a year to run this.
How? How? Okay. I think that, I need to be like a financial expert or something to go into, because, it'd be great because I don't have a degree. To go to those people and just explain to them how they can cut their costs. So first of all, what you can do is you can find a warehouse, away from the city, not in the city, away, so the land is a lot cheaper, and you can buy it outright. So that means no more rent for you, because clearly, if it costs you $50 million, I'm pretty sure you can take a bit of that $50 million and then buy a little warehouse. Anyway, then what you do is you build your little studio up. That'll cost you, probably just a couple of grand, really, if you get the right people, and then just take a massive pay cut and pay yourself 20 quid for every hour you're on. Boom. You've saved a ton of money. That'll cost you probably less than $1 million, to be honest. Yeah. Boom. Just saved you loads of money. Except...
How much money is being made?
Well, the money that's made is pretty much put back into things.
So basically, he's lying with the first thing, I would presume. Because I don't know how it can cost you 50 million quid. Unless he means it costs you 50 million quid by paying him. It's like, yeah, I mean, it costs so much money, really, at the end of the day. I mean, like, my fees are very high. I'm $1 million an hour. So yeah, I'm an expensive person. Because making 800,000 in one day. Sorry. Yeah, 800,000 in one day is pretty high.
Okay, so that is remarkable for 2 reasons. First, $45 to $50 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And second, Jones would have you believe that every penny they earn is being ploughed back into a show that looks like it was filmed on the set of a low-budget porn parody of itself. In fact, as he frequently tells his audience, he needs them to buy more to keep his truth-telling crusade solvent and growing.
We need to fund ourselves, and we fund ourselves by you buying the products. We're at a shortfall now because of the massive, sustained economic attacks we're under. But the listeners...
I believe he's now preparing to get them to donate. Say things like, oh, we are in trouble now because of the court proceedings, so give us money. But, yeah.
In just 2 weeks have almost narrowed that gap. I could have to sell my house to keep this place running 3.
Well, I mean, you have a house. That's good. It's nice to have a house. I don't.
4 months. I could have sponsors every segment. I don't do it. I plug enough to fund things. Fund us. Give me the energy and I will attack the enemy.
Exactly. It's like an NPR pledge drive for people who hate NPR. Because to listen to Jones, InfoWars is perpetually on the edge of disaster. He even has a link on the InfoWars store where you can just give him money to help fund the fight against tyranny. And contributors have left comments like, $25 may not be much, but I know every little bit helps. But Jones seems to be doing a...
Actually, I want to do a video on this where I just talk about how, people are ultimately... You see this with creators where they well, they rip their fans off effectively. So they say, "Oh yeah, support me on Patreon, support me on YouTube membership, support me on this, donate money here," and then that's great for the small bar. If you were like, "I'm going to support you," creating view on the on your Patreon, that would be great because I don't have money coming in. But if I was someone who had 50 million, how, at that point you're just thinking, no, you do not need that. You do not need donations, okay? You really do not. You're taking money from people who have less money than you do. At that point, you're just kind of stealing.
A bit more than just keeping his head above water. Ex-employees describe a thriving business, with one saying he can sell 500 supplements in an hour. It's like QVC for conspiracy.
Yeah.
And in one of those clips we showed earlier, we noticed he's wearing what looks like a Rolex watch worth around $8,000, which, cool. And, as we look around, we notice he also seems to have another 2 different Rolexes.
In fairness, I think the excuse would be for him would be, oh, we have high costs. Those high costs, most likely being Alex Jones.
Cooler. And here's the thing, that is honestly fine. He can have fancy watches. There is nothing wrong.
I mean, it's a bit wasteful. What I'm saying is, it's a bit like buying a Rolls Royce or a Tesla. It's like, but why? It's wasteful. You're buying an item for the brand name, ultimately. Why would you buy a Rolex watch? It's not known for being particularly good watches. However, they are known for being, Rolexes. So the thing is, ultimately, when you try and buy a brand name, you are being kind of stupid because you're buying something which, yes, it may hold its value. I'm pretty sure if Alex wanted to, he could sell his 8,000 watch for probably more than 8,000 now, But the point is, that's not the main thing. The main thing is that because he has a Rolex, it means that he has spent money on something that, while it may hold its value, comparable to other things, it's not a good way of spending your money. It's wasteful. It's good for you because you don't necessarily lose it, but it's not a good way to spend it. Why not have those 2 watches and, donate to build a house or something like that, for people in need. That kind of thing.
With him getting paid. I get paid to make this show, but it does fight with his message that he needs you to buy products to help keep his show going. And even Alex Jones seems to be a little self-conscious about that disconnect. But don't worry, he's reconciled it in a truly amazing way.
I wear a blue sports coat and a Rolex because it's a symbol of middle class and humanity having prosperity and promoting human prosperity from a perspective of empowering humanity.
I have never had a Rolex, and because I disapprove of branded items, that's the reason they're expensive. I probably never will unless it's forced on me. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, either I've always been lower class, or maybe you're talking BS, Jones.
Humanity and stealing the image of a man in a sports jacket with a Rolex that is the satanic image. So I dress as a Satanist so that I can enter their world and show you that none of it means anything.
Oh.
So you agree with me that buying the Rolexes was wasteful? Okay.
Bullshit! How stupid do you think your audience is? Okay, you bought a Rolex so you could dress up like a Satanist. What are the other 2 for? And incidentally, tormenting the parents of Sandy Hook should comfortably get you into the satanic club. I believe that's the easy pass to whatever hell's version of the champagne room is.
Yeah.
And look, so at the start of this piece, I promised Alex Jones that I would put his statements in context, because he is right that if you play small clips in isolation, he looks like a loon. But if you play them in context, he looks like a skilled salesman
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not that, and it's very similar to a lot of other very conspiratorial, very right-wing media outlets, where ultimately you always see this thing where they don't actually believe what they're saying, but they know what they're saying is profitable. So if you look at, like, I think even Tucker Carlson, he's got a bit of a history where he was able to recognize that a lot of the stuff he talked about now is BS, but he was also able to recognize it was tactical BS. It wasn't just, oh, this person, thinks this, they're wrong. He knew when he was not even in his position now that that person was fully aware they were wrong, but that person was also fully aware that benefited them. So just looking at it, you can see a lot of media outlets have that, where it's like they are aware that they are lying or they are wrong, but also it's profitable.
Hours a day, frightening you about problems like refugees spreading disease, and then selling you an answer.
Yeah.
Remember that gay frog clip at the start? He did a follow-up show explaining how chemicals were being placed in the water to feminize society and reduce the population, and then immediately segued to this.
Okay, so he is just being transphobic. Okay, being transphobic. Yeah, that answers that question. Yeah, so first of all, you, Alex, and also, yeah, so you can admit now that you were just being transphobic, basically, but you won't actually admit it. You'll just change the story to be more accurate. Unfortunately, that doesn't actually work for humans. So, yeah. Also, it's actually in the water. It's in frog water. Yeah, frogs don't live in human water, tends to be the case. Because yeah.
We sell 5 different brands of the very best water filtration systems.
Okay, yeah, I remember this.
They're amazing. They cut out 99.99% of the glyphosate, the herbicides, the pesticides, the fluoride.
I mean, to an untrained eye, it sure seems like he was using the idea of a gay frog to sell his products, which, incidentally, is the same mistake the WB network made. And listen, I am not saying
they own the show right now. Interesting.
Only reason Jones is talking about the globalist systematically feminizing us is to sell overpriced nutraceuticals so he can buy...
It's also kind of like, first of all, if that was true, would that be a bad thing? Just saying.
Luxury watches, but if I were saying that, it certainly wouldn't be the stupidest conspiracy theory that you've heard so far tonight. So if Alex Jones wants his words in context, this is it. The fact that he happens to sell so many solutions should really recontextualize how you think about what he is claiming are problems. Think about it like this. How would you feel if at the end of this segment that may well have made you feeling a little dirty, I tried to sell you something to wipe that gross feeling away? Would you question my motives? Well, I certainly hope not, because that's what we are doing right now. Come with me, because I am proud to say that we've been working with a leading medical expert, and I would like you to meet him right now. Please welcome Dr. Ted Root III. Dr. Ted.
So happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you, Doctor. And we are here, the doctor and I, to offer you the John Oliver Moisture Armoured Tactical Assault Wipe. The first tactical wipe for use exclusively on the perineum.
That's right. For goodness sake, don't use this anywhere else. You're going to want to just focus on this area right here.
Okay.
Right here.
Now, Doctor, how is this going to make people feel better about what they've seen tonight?
Well, my studies show that when you vigorously apply this taint wipe, it causes a sensation that distracts the brain from whatever it had previously been thinking about.
Okay. And again, you've got degrees from MIT and everywhere else and a bunch of other degrees. The media makes fun of you and says that you're an idiot.
They do.
But just for the record, you did go to MIT, right?
Well, I've definitely physically been there.
That's essentially the same.
That's what I've been telling everybody.
Now you can actually buy one of these wipes at infowipes.com for $1 million. This is real. They are actually available for $1 million a piece. And don't even think about buying a similar wipe in a store because those wipes will kill you.
Yeah, also, these wipes have the power to heterosexualize frogs.
Okay.
So that's very nice to have, because that's been a real problem with all the refugees.
Right. And look, this tactical taint wipe has demonstrated incredible results, hasn't it, Doctor?
Absolutely, it sure has. Look at this photo of me. And now look at this photo of me 45 minutes later.
Oh, that's funny, yeah.
After applying the taint wipe.
You're much redder there.
I'm so much redder.
So much redder.
Disturbingly red.
So if you want to spend $1 million on a taint wipe, go to infowipes.com. And if you are thinking, well, no one's going to do that, all I will say is, people pay Alex Jones $45 for a jar of chocolate-flavoured chicken juice, so anything is fucking possible.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if one had $1 million... No. You'd help others out first. But yeah, that kind of thing, yeah. I mean, like, ultimately, I think Alex Jones he's a skilled salesman, but yeah, not the nicest man at all. And yeah. Well, that's really it. Thank you for watching. Please do go ahead and look at Last Week Tonight, and hopefully you'll come back next week.